I'm Geraint Thomas, General Manager for AB Europe. This is Gavin. There's two parts to our business at the moment. We have a sheep and goat side where we do AI, embryo transfer and semen freezing, and we also have a newly built IVF lab for the cattle side. So Gavin will talk about that part a bit later. So we're based, we have 3 centres based in the UK, one in Northern Ireland, one in Edinburgh and one in Malvern. We annually AI approximately 50,000 sheep a year, do embryo transfer on 3,500 ewes, transferring into surrogate mothers, and we freeze approximately 45,000 doses of sheep semen. We've been involved with the RBST for a number of years. For semen freezing, it would be before my time, so it's got to be 15 plus years, and we freeze annually semen and embryos for them and store them over 2 centres that we've got throughout the UK. More recently, we have sort of become involved in freezing embryos. Now, David's sitting here in the audience somewhere. We've done a lot of work over the last few years with David to freeze Norfolk horns, and we've had some quite good success freezing embryos. And we've also brought some old breed lines back in using AI as well. Other projects that we've been involved in to freeze semen was during foot and mouth, where we had to do a lot of work to save herdwicks, lonks, and those breeds, so going on farm to collect semen before animals were getting cold to sort of preserve genetics there. We also do quite a lot of work with export for domestic breeds to New Zealand, USA, and covering those sorts of most European countries as well. In 2014, we got bought out by a company in New Zealand. We were originally called Innobus, and the company from New Zealand bought in an IVF lab that we've set up based mainly in cattle at the moment, but we are moving into sheep.
Thank you very much. My name is Gavin Tait. I work 4 days a week for AB Europe, and thank you for inviting us to speak here today. And a fantastic place it is. Really amazing facilities. We're very jealous.
Yeah, we are.
So our business, or the cattle side of the business that I run, is 95% IVF work now, and we still do some standard moat flushing and cattle. With IVF work, just a summary of it is that we harvest eggs from the ovaries of cattle. It's quite a straightforward procedure. Relatively welfare friendly, probably slightly easier than the old-fashioned or the flushing, that we still do a bit of that. And so we produce embryos for freezing or for transfer. And the IVF business is in its 2nd year of operation now. The technology we brought in from New Zealand, and I went out to New Zealand and trained for 5 or 6 weeks at a time over a couple of years. And we're now producing embryos. We've produced around about 2,000 IVF embryos so far for commercial use, mostly beef at the moment, and we're collecting around between 60 and 80 cows per month at the moment, again for freezing and transfer. The advantages that IVF offers over the old flushing that we still use is that we can collect from pregnant cows up to 12 weeks of gestation. We can collect from 4 weeks after calving. With flushing, we usually leave them at least 2 months before we collect. There's no drugs involved with the way that we do it, certainly. Usually with standard flushing, you're injecting twice a day for 4 days with supraovulatory hormones, AIing them at the end of that. So we can collect from cows and without any injections. Usually with a standard program, for standard flushing, you're handling cows about 13 times before you collect embryos from them. With IVF, we just go and collect on a day. We can collect every 7 days. So most cows, we're running them through probably 3 or 4 weeks. We collect from them every 7 days. And with that, we expect to get around about 3 embryos per donor per week. There's an advantage in that there's quite a saving on the semen. But with normal flushing, you use around about 3 straws of semen per donor. With IVF, we get away with using 1 straw of semen. Will cover 4 or 5 cows potentially. So for very rare breeds and very rare individuals, that offers quite an advantage, and especially with the heritage breeds. That's, you know, we've done some work that's really worked quite well with that. So exciting opportunities are for gene banking embryos, we think, with using this IVF, and we have done some work with that already, getting a good representation of the female side, where obviously previously we were only really able to bank semen. Again, we're going back to the rare semen with low volumes, and I think the calf at the end, if I'm allowed to say, is the product of one of our projects, where with the Gloucesters we had some very rare semen. I think it was from the 80s that had been collected, and we collected from 3 or 4 cows, I think, from donors on a single occasion actually, and we got 5 embryos, 5 quite poor quality embryos we thought they were, and we implanted them anyway, and we actually got 4 pregnancies, so we had two nice female calves and 2 bull calves from that, so that was quite a success for us. We were very happy. And so going forward, we're obviously hoping that we can do more of this, and I mean, that's an example of us using old genetics and bringing them into the current, you know, for use at the moment, and pre-development. But long term, the goal I think has to be to try and bank more of these genetics that we have at the moment, so that we've got them for future use down the line. So, thank you.